everyone, and welcome to the iRacing Today radio show for August the 14th, 2014. Might as well be another complete and total different year or something because, I don't know, it's been a while since we've been doing this, but welcome everybody to the show. It is August now. We haven't done one for a couple of weeks due to very, very varying circumstances. The circumstances have been very much of them, and they've been very various. So that's a lot of various things happening, really, is what I'm saying. So I am Trevor Cameron, your host, and in here I have my co-host, the man with the, anybody watching the video, with the very large cranium that is much larger than myself. Before we had the problem with the height thing, we figured that out, and now Chad's got a big head. So welcome into the show, Mr. Chad.
I have to do everything better than you.
And that's the way it goes, isn't it? I mean, you know.
That's my goal.
So hopefully, I mean, we struggled to get to this point where, you know, we could actually do a show for you guys. You know what I mean? Like it's been a while, and it's been.
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore.
I don't know. I mean, it took us an hour to set up all the stuff. Although we've, of course, the best way I have found in order to go and come back from a hiatus where you had a pattern, everything was going fine. The best way to get back to that is to change everything when you come back. That's what I find. So now everything is different. We've got a new splash screen. We've got pictures, and I don't even know what we're doing anymore. I mean, we've just gone into ridiculous territory. I mean, I'm still having issues with my microphone as opposed to the fact that, you know, it's just not loud enough until I get my mixer board and stuff like that. But I got a thunderstorm. I got a sleepover happening, you know.
I don't know. I think it's pretty loud because I heard that thunderstorm pretty clearly.
Yeah, I know, and that's weird because it cuts out a lot of the other noise around me, but apparently thunder it doesn't have to follow that rule. So that's important to know.
So good to know.
So hopefully I'm loud enough in your guys' ears. Hopefully I'm not salivating in people's ears because apparently that's annoying, as I can imagine it would be. So we're going to get through this. But anyway, it is August the 14th, 2014, and we're talking about iRacing because we haven't for a while, and, you know, it seemed like the thing to do. So, even though the show notes clearly state show 64, August the 9th, 2014. So, I mean, that's Chad probably mocking me, saying, you know, hey, you know what? We were supposed... Oh, it's now changed.
There you go.
It's like, we're going to do show last week, man, but then your house got hit by hail and stuff, and you said, oh, I can't do the show because I got to clear broken glass away from my children. You know, you jerk. That's what
What kind of an excuse is that?
I don't think that's what you said, but that's what I heard.
Yeah, that's what I was hinting at. So.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess for those who don't know, I mean, I mentioned on Twitter and in the thing, my apologies for not doing a show last week. We were like literally like an hour away from doing the show. We were getting ready, everything. Like we were prepared. Everything was set. And then
I was even updating the show notes when he emailed me.
Yeah, and then the largest hailstorm I've ever seen came through town here, and it broke 5 of my windows. It at one side of my house has at least 100 holes in the siding. My garage is about the same. It was like every vent on my roof has to be replaced because they're smashed or dented, and it's it was incredible. So all of a sudden I said, you know, hey Chad, you know what? I know we didn't do a show last week, but I kind of have to clean up a lot of stuff. So we weren't able to do a show, and unfortunately Chad was busy on the weekend, so we couldn't just kind of bump it back. So here we are 2 weeks later. So
we're still alive.
It is August the 14th. Now, I mean, you know, it should have been July. So everybody, welcome to the show. Thank you for hanging in there with us and you know, and being part of this and saying, you know, I'm being patient and not going. And instead of saying, hey, where's our stupid show? Saying, hey, I hope everything's okay with the house, Trevor. I hope everything's going good. You know, so I appreciate that, guys. You know,
our show's not stupid.
I'm not. Well, it's not really stupid. I mean, it was kind of like I wouldn't insult the show because I kind of came up with the idea, so that would be really silly.
Well, I wasn't really complaining about you. I was complaining about people that might say that it's stupid. I was defending.
Oh,
I was being very defensive.
Too defensive,
Yes,
some might say.
I will say, in all seriousness, joking aside, that I'm very glad that you survived the hailstorm.
Yes.
And I hope that cleanup continues to go successful.
Yeah, my house right now, it looks like some sort of patient in a hospital because I took red tuck tape and taped up all over the holes so that water wouldn't get into the, in behind it. So it actually looks worse that way than it did with just the holes, because holes are just kind of dark spots and it's a gray siding anyway. So it looked bad, but it didn't look horrible. Now it's like this light gray siding with all these red blotches all over it. So now it kind of looks like a murder scene. So that's better, I guess.
Wow.
And half my windows are missing because I had to take out the ones that were broken.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, well, it's sometimes you go from hailstorm to murder spree. It's the way things go.
Yeah. So speaking of going
Forward in this show, tonight we have our In the News segment, of course, which is the latest news from iRacing and our show. And we have significant portions of both of those. We've got Chad's latest iRacing experiences and Trevor's, hey boy, I sure wish I had some experiences segment. Although I did do some practicing and stuff, but I never got any official races in yet in the last couple weeks because it's been kind of busy. I don't know, I think we'll talk a bit about what we're planning to do for season 3. And of course, the biggest segment of our news, I mean, it's kind of, I guess it's not really in the news, but we're going to be talking about our fun race, which is coming up very, very shortly. Hopefully you guys are aware of that and have, caught the news on Twitter and you're laughing and I don't know what's happening. What have I done to amuse you, sir?
I just was checking your YouTube stream and I have a really big head.
I told you, man. I wasn't joking.
Gosh.
I wasn't
compared
saying,
to mine.
That was the best I could do. What I could have done was I could have made my head even larger, which would have made it more pixelated because of the way that I'm capturing it. And I would have cut out my daughter's sign in the background, and I wasn't willing to make that sacrifice. I was willing to make you look the fool to not disappoint my daughter is what I'm getting at, really. So,
That just made my day.
Your head is huge, sir.
But you got to go look at my Twitch stream later just to see how much of a difference.
It's
crazy.
Yeah, but you don't have my sign, so you know what? Mine's better.
Okay.
But anyway, as I was saying before Big Head interrupted there, hey, Head.
I have my own fat head.
Head, change the channel now. Head, move. What? His head is huge. It's from So I Married an Axe Murderer. Anyway.
Back to the thing.
So, as I was saying, hopefully you guys have caught us on Twitter and in the forums mentioning about when the fun race is going to be, because we haven't had a show to actually announce it or talk about it. We're going to talk about all the details on that, and it is coming up very, very shortly. So hopefully you guys are ready and going to be able to show up for that. And that's basically going to kind of carry us out to the show here. We're it's mostly just news and fun race stuff, and and sometimes that's just good enough. And hopefully my internet and everything holds out, because as I think I may have mentioned at the beginning of the show, and if I didn't, there's a huge thunderstorm going through, so it seems to have subsided, but at any given point in time, I could disappear. And one would assume that my house is caught up into a big ball of fire, and I am now dead. Well, not now.
And then you get to look at my big fat head all the time.
Then I'll just be, and then somehow the last action I will take before I succumb to the fire that is engulfing my entire house is I will increase the size of him so his entire head takes up the entire stream. Just so it's just, there's no logo, there's no nothing. It's just Chad head. That's that is my goal in life.
Hashtag Chad head.
So,
okay, news.
Moving right ahead into the In the News segment, which is presented by iRacerstuff.com. iRacerstuff.com is a website dedicated to the iRacing motorsports simulation. They post things that they find interesting or that may be useful to the iRacing community. Check them out today at iRacerstuff.com. Sadly, I think I've already done my Christopher Walken for that segment before. I'm going to have to come up with a different accent for that one. Although it still turned into Russian Christopher Walken. I'm not sure how. But, now I don't know if this information is accurate, but iRacing.com has announced 2 weeks ago? Is that true, or has that just been not updated? Was that breaking news when we were supposed to do it? Or
I just updated it while you were reading in the iRacer stuff. to change it because it said on Monday, which would not have been accurate.
So iRacing.com announced 2 weeks ago that it will sponsor the Nürburgring 1000 round 5 of the why you gave this to me on purpose of the Blancpain endurance series. Well, it sounds like it looks like blank, but I mean as a French word it would be blanc or blanc. So I'm going to go with Blancpain Endurance Series. The iRacing.com Nürburgring 1000 is scheduled for the weekend of September 19th to the 21st. Motorsports fans attending the iRacing.com Nürburgring 1000, you put that word in there as often as you could, and I'm sure I've pronounced it differently every single time. We'll have the opportunity to test iRacing throughout the race weekend at the Sim Racing Expo 2014, which will be held in the Exposition Center adjacent to the circuit. So that's pretty darn cool. They're actually sponsoring like a race. I mean, they've been on a race car, but I mean, now somebody has got to bring up the fact that the irony of the fact that they are sponsoring a race at a track we don't have. That's
true.
I am all for the idea. I think it's awesome. I just find it funny that out of all of the 7 billion tracks that we have access to on iRacing, that they're sponsoring a race at, albeit one of the most famous racetracks in the world, but a racetrack that we do not currently have available on the service, which is sad.
Keep reading.
Oh, wait, there's more. Well, I knew there was more. There's a whole bloody paragraph there. It's a word extravaganza there, man. iRacing has a limited number of tickets to the race, including access to a suite on the front straight of the track that will give that we want to give to members. That was a lot of words that didn't make sense until I started trying to say them. Here are the details. Tickets are valid September 20th and the 21st. Includes access to the suite where you can watch the race inside or outside. So it's like one of those pools where you can like swim inside, then go underneath a divider, and now you're outside in the pool. You probably don't have to swim to get to the outside part. Just guessing. I'm hoping. I don't know how it works. It's a suite. Includes access to the 2014 Sim Expo being held adjacent to the racetrack. Eligibility to win a ticket. Must be a member of iRacing. Excellent. So much for no purchase necessary. Must attend the race. Well, that would make sense because I'm guessing it must be eligible to win the race, such as a Canadian is not going to probably go there unless I happen to be on the other side of the world. If you win the ticket and don't show up, we will publicly shame you since you will be taking a ticket from someone else who would have attended. Fair enough. The rules have been laid. They're set down. So I mean, that they spelled it out for you. Tickets will be available for pickup at the Accreditation Welcome Center at the track. Limit 1 ticket per member. Yes, we know you might want to bring a friend, spouse, significant other, but we really want as many iRacers to benefit from this as possible, and giving you 2 tickets cuts into that number. So that makes sense. How to enter? Send a PM. Wow, poor Kevin. Send a PM to Kevin Bobbitt, who is obviously an iRacing staff member. If there are more entries than tickets, one would hope, we will randomly select winners. Deadline to enter is August the 19th, 2014. Holy crap, that's in 5 days. Man, imagine if we had announced this 2 weeks ago. They'd have all kinds of time at 23:59 GMT, just so you don't get confused on that when, if they say 0000 GMT, August 19th. That always messes me up. It's like, so it's midnight on the 19th. Does that mean that it's 18th midnight, or does that mean that it's the night? You know what I mean? Every time they put it right on the line, I never know what they mean. Good on them for using 23:59. You'll be notified via PM if you win around August the 20th. Disclaimer: tickets have no cash value and cannot be sold. We reserve the right to change the rules of this promotion at any time. We can change our mind if we wanna. We don't want to give you a ticket because you're a jerk. Other restrictions set forth by the track and promoter apply. Except, now none of that addresses the fact that we don't have it on the service. I was waiting for a big smoking gun of, it's like, oh, and by the way, it'll be out, by, it's going to be out there in season 4. No.
Yeah, well, just wait. Anyways, so now that Trevor finally has stopped reading that massive paragraph.
You wrote it.
But just, no, I didn't write it. I just copied and pasted.
You put it into the show notes, so that's on you, man. You said TC does, and I did.
Driver swaps code has been merged into the main code, which this was announced a few weeks ago as well, which pretty much confirms it'll be in the Season 4 update, which we already kind of knew anyways, but if there was ever any doubts or sudden, oh crap, something went wrong, it's a little bit less now because,
Well, yeah, and that's what I was thinking. It's like, by doing this, they're basically saying one of two things happens. In Season 4, we're going to have driver swaps, or there is no Season 4 update. It's
yeah,
pretty much what they've done. They've backed themselves into a corner now.
yeah, so they're stuck with it. Now, also, after this was kind of announced, Steve Myers, of course, is occasionally on the old Twitterville and answering people's questions. And somebody asked the question, excuse me, what is the likelihood of support for 6+ hour endurance hosted sessions? And this is hosted sessions, not official rooms.
Yeah.
And then the person said, in parentheses, isn't the max right now 3 or 4 hours? And Steve replied with up to 24 hours for a hosted room. And then somebody else asked in response to that, so there will be no time for practice and qualifying. And they would say we would need at least 25, 26 hours if you wanted to do a 24-hour race. And Steve said, yes, the maximum hours you can host is 25 hours. So probably, I don't know, 50 minutes for practice and then 10 minutes for qualifying or something like that, for an example. So that is pretty freaking cool that we can do
Yeah.
a hosted race.
I mean, see, and as much as we give credit to, to Steve and listening to him on Twitter and stuff like that, see, that just sounds like he's making it up as he goes along. It's like, aren't six, isn't it 6+ hours? It's like, isn't the max, 3 or 4? We're not gonna be able to do that. Up to 24 hours. Well, that doesn't make sense. You don't think? Yeah, 25 hours. I don't know.
But wait, there's more. Call right now. We'll give you 28 hours.
And the set of Ginsu knives.
Yeah. So, but that's pretty cool. Now, Gateway Motorsports Park is confirmed to be the next oval track to be rolled out onto the service. And Pocono and Michigan have both been rescanned. I think we mentioned a while back that Pocono had been rescanned, but I hadn't heard anything about Michigan.
No, I think
But there it
we
is.
actually had mentioned it before because I remember we kind of talked about how Pocono was had some significant differences in the way the track was as opposed to Michigan, which was kind of just a repave. Or maybe that was a conversation I had in the forums. That actually, I may be imagining that because I was talking to people about that on the forums. So,
Wow. Thank you for wasting like 35 seconds.
hey, man, you were talking for like 30 seconds, and I was like, man, I got to get in here. Because once we start talking about racing and stuff, he's just not going to stop because I have barely done any. So, I mean, I've got to get my digs in now, man. It's been 2 weeks since I've been able to talk into a microphone. Give me a break.
I
I'm
know.
like, I'm dying here.
So, both Pocono and Michigan have been rescanned. If we didn't announce it, we have now. If we did, we're doing it again. Monza will be the next road course track, followed by Imola, I guess is how you would say that. But Tony Gardner did have this to say, which some of this is going to be a little bit of a repeat of what I just said, but it's still a pretty fascinating sentence or paragraph. He said, Monza will be the next road track, followed by Imola or whatever. We did rescan Pocono and have started some work, but Gateway will be the next oval, but also could be a surprise in there. Ding, 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 ding. We don't know what that is, though. We also have the new scan of Silverstone and would like to update VIR, otherwise known as Virginia International Raceway, and Lime Rock, but all will take time. And one other thing to note about Lime Rock, because like everybody has been asking about this track, because if you're not familiar with Lime Rock in its current present day real life form, it is much different than the one on iRacing. So you'll just have to go look at pictures on the internet or something to see what we're talking about. But iRacing is kind of holding off right now on rescanning Lime Rock because apparently it is rumored that Lime Rock might change it again. They've changed it a lot in the last couple of years already, so that's part of the reason why we've had the delay. But apparently iRacing has heard that there might be some more changing going on here. So that's the reason that we still don't have the new Lime Rock yet. So,
Well,
which
I was just saying,
one
that's a
person did-
perfectly valid reason to not rescan it, is if they're going to change it.
yeah, and one person did have an also a valid point, I thought, about how Lime Rock is mostly used in the Rookie Series, which is obviously the first series you drive on the roadside of iRacing, and they were kind of making the point of, what in iRacing want to have the most up-to-date stuff and the rookie stuff because it's brand new. You're brand new to the sim. You might want to, the person might join and think, wow, this is not up to date. I thought they said this was always up to date and always like exactly what it is in real life. So I thought that was kind of an interesting point. But
is that your cynical user voice? I thought that this was supposed to be like this, and this is a piece of junk because this isn't. That's your your internet voice. I'll call that your internet voice.
Yes, it's okay. I'm from the internet.
Boom, confetti.
Please read now, so I can make fun of you.
Oh, you were done. Okay. I was wondering if when they're going on about rescanning stuff, I wonder if they're going to send the crew out to Watkins Glen and rescan that section of a fence that they had to rebuild because it's probably differently shaped now after. Who was it that went through that? I don't know.
Michael McDowell.
Right. I knew it was Newman who, didn't hit him, but his vehicle was in the path that sent him there. Did you see that? Did you actually see that wreck?
Yep.
Like it was.
I saw it live.
It was it was amazing. Like it was almost like a tank slapper, so to speak. Like Newman's car turned around and then just swatted his car into the fence.
It's like, take that. I don't want you on this track anymore.
No, I wonder. When it comes to, I guess I was kind of joking, but when it comes to Watkins Glen, it's fairly accurate, like the scan they have. But they did make a difference in the runoff area out of the carousel, I think it's called, that big loop there. They've kind of paved that one section that in our version is still grass. Like, I know it's a matter of being the most accurate of up-to-date laser scan tracks, but I wonder if it would be a big deal to just kind of change the surface for that one area. Like they could they get away with that? Like, would that be something that would kind of not bring into that would compromise their integrity as far as how they want to present tracks on the surface if they just kind of cheat it when it came to a simple track surface difference?
Yeah, like a little small section. I don't see why that would be. I would not. For that exact section you're talking about, there to me would be no point in going back and rescanning that because, they could just take some of the road that's kind of like right next to it and just basically duplicate it and get rid of the grass. But
yeah, the curb's still there. I assume that it's in the same spot, and all they did was just kind of pave the runoff so that you could, keep going a little bit. So
yeah.
And that would be helpful because that coming out of that corner, and it's one of the fastest corners too. Because when you come out of there, that's one of my favorite corners to kind of hit just right. Because you're just kind of on the brake and you're just off the gas and let it drift through the corner, and then when you just get that feeling that your wheels are hooked up enough that you're gonna hit that perfect angle through there, you kind of gun the gas and then you kind of go up on the curve and you get your speed going down that side. But if you had even more runoff, and that would make that a lot funner of a corner, I think.
I think it would be a little bit easier as well.
Yeah, although I have spun out in that corner, because if you gun it a little bit too early and then you hit the curb at the wrong angle, the rear end will come around on you and stuff. But yeah, I wonder if anybody's ever thought that through in the office, if they have a reasoning for not doing, is it just a matter of, we're sticking to our guns, it's laser scanned or nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because I'd like to, when it came to small differences like that, I know me as a user would have no problem if they just kind of did that. Obviously, Pocono had some significant changes to it. Michigan was completely repaved. When they changed, well, they haven't changed yet, but if they changed Bristol, like Phoenix, significant differences.
Well, Michigan's significant change doesn't necessarily have to do with the track. It has to do with the grandstands. They removed a lot of the grandstands. On the iRacing version right now, there's, I don't know how many, but there's at least 3 or 4 little grandstands, but they're still kind of big in turns 3 and 4 and kind of in, Well, there's not really in turn one. And they, at the real Michigan, they've removed all of those.
Oh,
So that would be the significant change for Michigan.
okay. I wasn't aware they'd done that as well, but it was repaved, was it not?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now it's rescanned. One other thing that I'm going to mention before Trevor does the next news item, and this is a news item as well, that's probably more news than anything that we're reading, is iRacing made a slight change to the spotter passwords. So if you're one of those people that has the spotter feature turned on, and for the record, since we're just talking about this, when you sign into the members' website, I'm getting the same thing that you got earlier, Trevor, about the pause updating thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, because I logged into the page, because I always bring up the page whenever we're going to do the show so I can have access to, whatever we want to look at and stuff. And in the middle, right underneath the menu, and above race, where it says race guide, press room, and dashboard there, it has a little plug icon, and it says, still here? iRacing's data has paused updating. If you want to get the latest data, please refresh your page or allow us to continue updating. It's like, well, as I was saying to Chad before the show, it's like, well, okay, A, I never told you to start updating. And then,
Well,
consequently, I never told you to pause updating.
I think it has something to do that's like a live thing, maybe the ticker or something. I don't know. It's not like updating the actual sim. But anyways, so on the members website, and you can access this anywhere, there's right below the big green Race Now button, there's a little blue, kind of like a wrench and a screwdriver, I guess, icon. And if you click on that, it brings down a little drop-down menu, and under there, you can toggle 64-bit mode if you want to use that on your computer. But also, what we're talking about is the Crew Chief Spotter mode. And if you have that off, you can flip the button there and it'll turn it on. And then you can set up to where anyone can be your spotter or crew chief, or you have to require a password and anyone can be your spotter and crew chief, or you can have a password and only friends can do, so people on your friends list can be your crew chief or spotter. And then you can type in whatever password you want. But they made a slight change with the password. They used to let you, I guess, do any kind of symbol or character or any number or whatever that you wanted to do. But now they have changed it to where it can only be numbers and letters. So anything from A to Z and 0 to 9, capital or not capital, that can only be a part of your spotter password now. So just wanted to throw that out there just in case you happen to have a spotter that has a bunch of random characters and symbols in it. Probably need to go update that now so that you're not in the middle of a race and somebody's trying to join and spot for you and they can't.
Right.
Because that would stink.
Right, and and this is all because they're bringing in the driver swaps, yeah, because they can't have weird characters. I don't know why this change came about. It's something to do with the way they changed the code and stuff, but I'm wondering, they changed something that apparently doesn't like special characters, which, hey, as far as passwords go, I hate passwords that make me use special characters. So I'm perfectly happy with this because I hate when you go to websites like, please put in a password, and you put, and then does not tell you the criteria. You put in a password, and it'll be all like, nah, son, you got to put at least a number in there. Okay, so you put a number in there. It's like, nah, just kidding, man. You got to have at least a capital and a lowercase in there, too. It's like, okay, well, what about this? It's like, no, dude, you didn't put a special character in there, man. What are you? Are you new to the internet or something? And then, yeah, you have to go through 15 different iterations. And usually when I get to that point, the password usually ends up being something derogatory towards the company that is making me jump through these hoops. So I know my Xbox Live password is something that I cannot repeat on this radio show because they made me jump through all those hoops. And I was mad when they made me do it.
I can imagine.
Yeah, actually, you never responded on my silly idea that I brought. Speaking about crew and spotter stuff, you never said whether or not that was a good idea.
I think it's a good idea. Go for it. Tell
you think
everybody.
So?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I had this crazy idea the other day, and I was just kind of brainstorming about, interacting with you guys and whatnot, and we asked you guys to add us as friends so we can race together, and we've raced with people, and you guys have said hi in races, and that's been awesome. So I was just thinking, it's like, well, what if I made my password to, to be my crew chief or spotter public on the show, so that I'll still have it set so only friends can be my crew chief or spotter. So, have to be one of you guys that have added me as a friend in the service. But if I let you guys know the password, if you happen to see me online, jump in and spot for me or crew chief for me or whatever. I mean, why not? I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be racing, streaming, doing stuff. So drop in, say hi. I mean, no, don't drop in and don't spot for me. I'm going into a corner and, it's like, hey, all right. So, I really like the show. It's a great show. And smash. It's like, oh, yeah, there's a car out there, man. You should have totally not gone right there, man. I don't know what you were thinking.
Wow, you're stupid. Hey, you can talk about that on the show.
So I'm going to do that just for fun. So if you guys want to jump in and say, and talk to me and maybe be on the stream or whatnot, go for it. I'm going to change the password, like right now, like live. Let's see. What should I change it to? How about Boom Confetti?
That's a pretty good password.
Yeah, confetti is CONFETTI, is it not? At least I think it is. Wow.
Google it.
Maybe I should have come up with a password that I knew how to spell.
Spell.
That would have been good. Yeah. No. Okay. That's how you spell it. Okay. So my crew chief spotter setting and my password is now Boom Confetti, all one word. No special characters because that's not bad or not good. Not allowed. Don't do that. And also no capital letters. Just all one word. All small. All lowercase. It is now saved. So if you guys see me racing online, jump on in and spot for me and be on the stream and have some fun and say hi. Also, as a side note, in case you didn't know, you can also manage a list of ignored crew chiefs and spotters. So if you come in and you're a total jerk, I'll add you to my he can't be my crew chief or spotter list. I have that power.
I have that power.
So if your spotter crew chief password is violates policy, go change it, or else the sim will crash, and nobody will be able to do their Talladega race.
I don't know if it'll crash, but
no, I mean for everybody. Like if you right now do not go out and change your password, then the next World Tour event they do will crash and everybody will be mad. That's totally what's going to happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hey man, I'm not iRacing. I'm just saying what's going to happen. That's it.
Well, I'm glad I never had any of that special junk in my password then.
Neither did I, but and now I don't as well because it's Boom Confetti. I'm from
sure you don't want to add a 48 next to that. Okay, please read the next news item.
I should get a T-shirt. I should get that. They have those Boom Confetti T-shirts.
Yes,
I should get one of those with my face on it instead.
You should.
And at the very top, it'll say, "It's okay, I'm from the internet."
Yeah, and just wear it every week on the show.
Every week on the show, I'll wear it every day. I'll order 7 of them, so I just can wear them for the whole week and then wash them. I'll have to have a spare shirt for laundry day, but I'll get around it. So,
that's all right.
Anyway, back to the news. The Honda HSV-010 is signed. Yay! But significant problems in gathering data in the beginning turned into literally impossible to get data. Boo. Therefore, the car will likely never be built now. Big boo for anybody who's looking forward to that car. So
because it's a Honda.
Oh, I thought you were only into Toyotas. Or is it just anything that's from that side of the pond?
Big Toyota guy, but I drive a Honda in real life, so I'm a big Honda guy as well.
I drive a Pontiac. I don't think they even make cars anymore, so it's just Sunfire. I don't even know if Pontiac makes cars.
I used to race them.
True. So I'm curious as to exactly what significant problems you would encounter in gathering data for the car. I mean, they've scanned and gotten actual data out of all of those cars over the years, but I wonder what went wrong that they couldn't
Yeah,
actually get it.
beats me.
But let's see. Speaking of Hondas that you can't get, here's apparently one that. Am I reading that right? Are you playing a trick on me?
Nope.
Okay, it says, and I am just reading what has been put here. Honda Civic NGTC. I'm guessing that must stand for no, not that little hatchback that you see driving down the highway. um, I'm assuming there is well, isn't like Honda Civics, aren't they just used as like a rally car type thing, like in racing circles? Like they don't actually have a like track version of that thing, do they? As he shows his ignorance. Yeah, the Honda Civic I know is a hatchback.
I'm not showing my ignorance.
All right.
I am going to show you a picture.
Yeah, I don't. What? How are you going to show me a picture? We're live on the internet right now. You're going to take a picture.
There. Go look.
He's put it in the show notes. Hey, and the link is over on iRacerstuff.com. I've heard of those guys. They have a rockin' website.
Heck yeah.
Wow, that doesn't look anything like the Honda Civic that I know.
But it counts.
You can't just call something the Honda. I mean, I could call it the Volkswagen Rabbit and make it look like that. It's not a rabbit.
Oh my lord, you're hard to deal with.
So anyway, apparently the Honda Civic, and he took away the good thing I didn't close down the page, because I'll put that link in the show notes over to the iRacerstuff.com picture of the Honda Civic NGTC, unless I accidentally close that tab, in which case, well, I guess you could just search it out. But apparently, it's finally getting scan data, as it goes back in the show notes, from a team. So hopefully this car will be out one day in the future. That doesn't sound like a very promising timeline, but hey, it's better than this car will likely never be built.
Yeah.
Also, the Corvette DP it's been signed, and iRacing is trying to get the data. So another car that is in the hopper and slightly down the road. And this seems to harken back to something when I guess when Chad had said keep reading, he meant no, keep reading into all of the future news stories. Apparently Norschleff, otherwise known as Nürburgring, rumor floating around that it may have been scanned as well this week. Can't confirm though.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Rumor floating around that it may have been scanned 2 weeks ago, but we can't confirm though. However, there is a story that has the longest hyperlink in the world attached to it, which I'll put in the show notes. That's quite
it's a
the
doozy.
wow. I mean, like it has like FeedBurner in there and Twitter in there and Campaign and blog. Man, it's like a internet buzzword internet link here. I don't think that's real. I think that's just somebody said, I don't know, put a bunch of internet words in there. It'll be cool.
Oh, it's real. I read it.
Okay.
But anyways, last news item of the night, finally. We've spent like 40 minutes doing this.
We haven't talked about news for a long time, man. We had lots of news to talk about.
Southern National Motorsports Park, which is a little short track in North Carolina, has evidently been scanned because there was an Instagram picture of the iRacing van, which is, I don't know.
It's like the Google car.
Well, do you remember those commercials for Alltel back when Alltel was not bought out? And they had the character with like the blonde hair, and his name was Chad, and they had the people like geeks from the other wireless companies. This may have only been in the United States, I don't know. But anyways, and they were always like picking on him and like trying to give him a hard time and say that their company was better, and then he would always come back with, Alltel does this and it's better. But they would always say something like, "Get in the van, Chad." And it was like this thing that's stuck. And so because my name is Chad, everybody used to go around, joking, saying, "Get in the van, Chad." But anyways, So now the van, that's what connected that, the iRacing van to that van. Anyways, apparently there was an Instagram pic. Actually, it's not apparently, there is. And we'll put the forum post up there so you can check it out if you haven't. An Instagram picture that somebody had of the iRacing van at Southern National Motorsports Park, and the little tripod scanning device was standing right next to it. So it's, I don't know how many people have a yellow tripod in a gray van.
So the iRacing van doesn't even say iRacing? Like,
no, it's just gray. They can't afford a sticker. So because of the fact that I don't think there's very many people that have those two things, pretty safe to say that it looks like iRacing is scanning Southern National. And I'm wondering, we had mentioned a long time ago on the show that there were 5 tracks that iRacing had signed, but they were not releasing any information on them. And I'm wondering if this one happens to be one of those 5.
Ah, I gotcha. The sentence, I don't think everybody has, it has those. I mean, sure, anybody could have a yellow tripod, but a gray van? No, man. That's like, now you're just being stupid. I mean,
no, I'm saying both combined. It's the same. It is definitely iRacing. We can confirm this.
I'm just still shocked by the fact that they don't have a the iRacing van doesn't say iRacing on it.
I'm telling you, they can't afford a sticker. But that covers it in the news segment, so thank God we can finally get through that.
Well, okay, now here's something I don't understand. I mean, the iRacing breaking news, so to speak. iRacing.com just tweeted, "Congratulations again to Tyler Hudson, the 2013 NASCAR iRacing.com World Series World Champion." I mean, there's congratulations again. It's like, hey, and congratulations on winning that race yesterday. It's like, but wait, we just decided to congratulate you again.
Nope.
I'm guessing retweeted that. Oh, so that's a retweet. I'm just looking. It's like, what? Why is this relevant now?
It's a retweet.
Okay.
Quit looking at Twitter. Focus on the show.
So why would somebody retweet that now? Actually, it's a listener to the show. Sofa Slayer. What are you doing, man? You're confusing me. You just ruined the show. That's it. Unsubscribe. Get out.
Wow. So, our experiences, you had none.
Well, I mean,
I had a lot.
It's not none per se. I mean, I actually did I did some road racing practices. I just never had a chance to actually sit down and do a race. Real life has kind of taken over, but when I have got a chance, I have sat down and I was doing some practice with the, I did some practice with the DW12 at Mid-Ohio, the Mid-Ohio track, and discovered that I cannot race the DW12 around road courses because it's not a hard track, and it's a track that I've raced actually several times when I was doing road racing before, and I really like the track. Like, it has a really, really good flow to it. Yes. But you give me the power of a DW12, and I was driving around there like I had never seen the track layout before in my life. Like, it was not good. I then went out and took the what else did I take around there? I think I took the Jetta around there, and that was a much more pleasant experience. It was the Jetta I took around, and that it's like, okay, all I have to do is like cut, like, I don't know, 75% of the horsepower away from the car, slow me down about 100 miles an hour. Yeah, I can get around. This track's fun. I mean, so I did some practicing there. I did some practicing with the nationwide around Watkins Glen. I did the Jetta's actually at, well, the Grand Touring Cup is which I raced the Jetta in there. They're at Watkins Glen this week, so I'm hoping to get some racing in there because I love Watkins Glen. Although I kind of prefer the non-boot, the NASCAR short course configuration, but they're the only guys who actually do that. Everybody else puts the boot in there, but and that's about it. I mean, and I did some practicing at some racing around the DW12 around Michigan, Kentucky, just doing some practice. And man, like oval racing is so different in the IndyCar as it is in, in the stock cars. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's one of the most obvious statements in the world, but it's just such a different experience and it's so much fun. Holy crap, it is so fun to race that car around there because it's so
Well,
fast.
well, and that's the thing that I've been going through, because I've never really driven an Indy car until now, and it's like I went to Michigan in it, and I went into the turn, and everything I've ever driven, except for kind of the truck, at Michigan has required you to let off, maybe tap the brakes, depending on the build, and it's like, I go into the turn and I'm like, oh, I need to let off because oh wait, I'm in an Indy car. I don't need to let off. I just need to hold it wide open. And like it's so weird doing that, but it's fun, but it's just weird
And
to get through my system.
yeah, and it's one of those things too where you think, I guess it's kind of like the misconception people have about draft racing when it comes to stock cars around the super speedways. The fact that you don't let off the gas, like, oh, okay, so it's just easy to drive then. I mean, like all you do is you mash down the gas and you hold the gas pedal down, and then every now and again you turn left. But it's not. I mean, there's a lot of nuances to keeping that car under control while I mean, yes, you're full throttle. You don't really ever let off the throttle. Actually, I found letting off the throttle is usually worse because it's such a aero sensitive car that actually, if you're going into a corner and you let off, you tend to get tighter because you're taking off that air off the front wing, which is what's keeping your front wheels down on the track and allowing you to turn. So you actually end up worse if you go slower. Figure that around your brain after racing stock cars for a whole bunch of time. But you have to, like, it's almost like you're constantly on the gas and you never let off, but you end up in a situation where the car always wants to spin. Like, it's not like it's unstable per se, but like it's because it's so fast and it has so much aero around every part of that car. It's like you're always making it not crash to a degree, but not in the aggravating sort of way. Because there used to be like the old tire model on the stock cars, like the A car and the B car and stuff like that. That was a different kind of the car wanted to crash. Like you just got in the car and the car wanted to flip over, I swear. Like it's not that. It's not that level of frustration. It's just, it's a level of challenge, and the fact that it acts so incredibly different when you're behind another car or another car is behind you and you have to adjust for that. And it's so much fun even though you just have the gas mashed down the whole time. You're driving the car the whole time, and it's so much fun. Anyway, I'll get off my TW12 list, but man, that car's fun around ovals.
Yeah, it is. I agree. I've done a lot of racing, and I'm only going to talk about probably 2 experiences, maybe, just for time and also because they're probably 2 of the better ones. But yeah, I did my IndyCar stuff, and I'll go ahead and tell you guys what my season 3 plans are, even though we're like 3 weeks into season 3 now. And some of you may have picked up on this with my streaming, but I'm obviously still racing in the R0 Pro Cup Series that goes on Monday nights, 9:30 Eastern. I stream that every week on YouTube, provided that I can, which so far I've been able to. Let's see, this coming Monday we go to the world's greatest racetrack, and I am really excited, and hopefully we'll not get crashed, and we'll have a excellent run at the Bristol Motor Speedway.
That's what the world's greatest racetrack is. Oh, okay, Bristol. I thought you were talking about the Milwaukee Mile. I mean,
What, of all the tracks in the world,
it's the first thing that popped in my mind that I knew you wouldn't be talking about.
Okay.
And the IndyCar is actually there this week, so it was on my.
Well, I kind of wondered. But anyways, so I'm still 11th in the points, and had a bit of a bad streak, I guess, in that series. The last 3 weeks, we went to Pocono. Oh, first of all, we went to Indianapolis, then we went to Pocono, and then we went to Watkins Glen, and then just this past Monday we did Michigan. And out of those tracks, the only one that I was predicting that I would struggle with was Watkins Glen. And technically that was true, but I just ended up having dismal finishes in all 4 races instead of, just the Watkins Glen race. The Pocono race, I was... Actually, it's kind of cool. At the Pocono race, I signed on at the normal time that I sign in on Monday nights to practice, which is a little before the actual practice opens for the RCRL race. And which, I mean, those things, I think the room opens at like 8:45 Eastern time. And so I usually get on like 8:30, maybe a little before that, and start warming up and getting going. And so I sat down and started getting everything going, had my computer on, was getting everything ready to go. And the iRacing site was down. And did not come back up until we do the open qualifying, 10 minutes where everybody's on the track, whoever the top 10 is. With 5 minutes remaining in the session, they go out and they try and get anything better for, those last 5 minutes. We had 10 minutes left of qualifying by the time the iRacing site was back up, which meant that everybody rushed in, and they just let us all out on the track for the 10 minutes because, with everything that was going on. So by the time that I got on there, because I was starting to think the race wasn't going to happen, so I started I didn't shut down my computer, but I just kind of shut down some of the programs software that I use. So I was kind of preparing for this is not going to happen. And then suddenly it was like, oh, it's happening. So then I was like trying to get everything going. And by the time that I got into the sim and ready to go, I ran 1 lap of practice, which was a qualifying. And I don't even remember where I started, but it was like 16th or something. I mean, I was way behind.
So this isn't a story of I ran 1 lap and it was the best lap of my life. This isn't
it was
story.
Pretty slow. Yeah, it was pretty slow. And then, but I was thinking, okay, well, I can figure it out, and get going in the race and kind of get into a rhythm. It's an 80-lap race. I mean, that's a long time around Pocono. And I actually did start, getting somewhat comfortable. I actually made a highlight video on my YouTube channel of a restart, which was not what I was actually wanting to do, but I'll take it. I restarted in 17th, and my keyboard thing was screwed up again, where I couldn't use the keyboard, and so I was going to back out of the car and fix it. Like if we had a caution and I came down pit road, it's a big track, so I figured I might not go a lap down if I jumped out real quick and got back in. So I was contemplating doing that, and then we had this restart, and I restarted 17th, and within 2 laps, I was running 8th, and nobody crashed. I just drove right up through the middle, and I have the highlight on YouTube. It was actually really cool. It's kind of a cool video. But I was not intending to do that. That was the coolest part of that race. Once I got up to about 8th, I got hit by another driver, and I felt like I did a pretty good job of saving it, but I still hit the wall and ended up down on power somewhat for the rest of the race. And then it turned into fuel mileage, which was the only way I was going to end up getting a good finish, and I was going to make it. So were some other people, but some other people were going to run out, so I was thinking I might sneak a top 10 out of this. And then the caution flew with like a lap and a half left, and that just ruined everything. So I finished 12th in that race, which is still not bad, but it was kind of a bad race overall, considering that I finished 3rd there in the first race of the season, and I was fast in that race. So it was a little disappointing. Indianapolis was disappointing because I screwed myself out of that. But I'm not going to go into details on all of it. But Watkins Glen was horrible. I'm glad that we got out of there. Michigan was going really well until the end, and I don't even know what happened. But I still finished 12th. And here's the best part. We have this lucky number thing in the RCRL where you get money if you win, if you get the right number, which basically means if you finish between 2nd and 10th and 11th and 20th, and your number is randomly selected, wherever you finished, you get $10. And I have only gotten that twice this season, the lucky number thing. Mm-hmm. And both times it was at the Michigan race. The first Michigan race and now the second one that we just did the other night. And what makes it even more funny is the first Michigan race was horrible for me, and I finished 17th. And the second Michigan race, I finished 12th, and it was going well until the end, and then it finished horribly. And it was both races that I got the money, and I told David, I was like, it's almost like you just picked me, man. It's like you felt bad for me. But
I'm sorry, Chad. Have some money.
here's $10 for your troubles. But anyway, so I'm in 11th right now in points, solidly in the chase with like 3 more races left until that starts. So that's still going well, even though the last few weeks have been a little depressing, I guess.
How many people are they letting in the chase?
16.
16, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to do the elimination thing or not, but I should probably find that out.
I hope so, because that would be fun. Like I would.
Well, not for me.
I would look forward to hearing about the adventures on that, because I'm maybe the only one, but I'm really looking forward to the way that the chase plays out this year. But I know you hate the chase, but it'd be kind of cool from a driver perspective to kind of play through that. You know?
Yeah.
Then again, it won't be that much fun if you go through the first 2 races and then you're eliminated and then you're like, oh, I hate everything. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do my best. One thing that is cool is out of the 95 drivers that have at least one start in that series, I have the 4th most top 5s of
nice.
everybody in the series. So I'm pretty proud of that accomplishment, even though I still haven't finished 2nd or better in that series ever. If I could just finish 2nd, I don't have to win. If I could just finish 2nd one time, I have the most 3rd place finishes of anybody in the world. It's crazy. I'm serious. Go look it up.
That can't be possible. Anybody in the world doesn't have as many 3rd place finishes as you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That seems extreme.
But then my season 3 plans, as I was kind of starting with, is the RCRL still, and then I'm doing the IndyCar Oval Open setup, not fixed, because obviously the RCRL is fixed setup. And I'm only running like a partial schedule in the IndyCar, just some of the tracks that I really enjoy the most. And the next race that I will do is not for a couple of weeks in that series, but I did the first 2 races at Michigan and Kentucky. And the Michigan race started off really bad, and then it turned out to be really good because Larry, our little crew chief guy, helped me with the weight jacker setting, which dramatically changed the way that I was driving that car for the better. I could actually push the throttle instead of like having to let off because I was going to crash. I, like Trevor was kind of saying, he's been having a blast in that car, and the Michigan race went well. I think I finished 11th. And then the Kentucky race went even better. I finished 3rd, which is my best finish in the IndyCar in like 4 starts. And that was a lot of fun. I think Kentucky was more fun than Michigan almost. I don't know why, but it just was. But I'm really enjoying that IndyCar. Like, it was one of those cars that originally I never really thought that I would drive much, like in a league or officially. And now that Andy's kind of the IndyCar guy on the team, and then going through the Indy 500 and Indy 300 experience that we went through, it's made me like really enjoy racing that car, and now I like find myself trying to learn it, because obviously it's nothing like racing in a cup car. And so I'm like trying to learn things, like I got to learn how to pass. I'm trying to learn, and this is the biggest thing I'm trying to learn, is how to deal with the aero push, because that is wicked. I mean, like, I thought a cup car was bad with aero push, but wow, IndyCar has a beat.
Well,
yeah, it is bad.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's like that thing where you get up on somebody, behind somebody, and they disrupt the air on that front wing. I mean, that more so than obviously the stock cars. Like, you take the air off that front wing, and you have no steer. Like, it just goes to the wall, because it's so dependent on that air pushing that front of that car down into the track in order to make that corner. And you get behind somebody, you got no air, you got no turn.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts, and that's something that I noticed it right away when we started doing the Indianapolis stuff. But now that I've gotten more into doing the IndyCar on a regular basis, I'm really trying to learn, how to deal with it now, and not just be like, oh, well, I can make a live adjustment and it'll fix it. I'm trying to learn how to deal with it from behind the wheel too. but I'm having fun with the IndyCar, and like I said, I'm going to run partial schedule. The RCR races I'm streaming to YouTube. I'm streaming IndyCar, every IndyCar race I do, to Twitch, and then I'll archive it to YouTube, except for the Kentucky race because I had something mess up. But the Michigan race is there if you want to watch it. And then the last thing I'm doing for season 3, and the last part of my experience, is the GT3 Challenge series, which I had committed to doing like in the middle of season 2, starting in season 3. And so far, I have had a lot of fun in that. Rotating the cars. So the first week I did the McLaren, and there's a stream of that on my channel. And then the next week I did the BMW. And this week I haven't done a race yet, but I'll probably do it tomorrow. And I'll be in the, forgot the other car now, the rough car,
Right.
I guess. And
one of the 4 different types of rough cars.
yeah. So I'll be streaming all the GT3 races to Twitch as well, and then throw them over on YouTube afterward. So that's my season 3, and I'm running the full schedule of the GT3, partial Indy, and obviously all the time in the RCRL. So far I've been having a lot of fun in season 3.
I'd like to see, I'd like to see you rotate all the cars through, and then, like, every week do 3 races, 1 for each car. Compete for all 3 championships. See, now that would be something, man. Yeah.
Well, that's not a mixed class. That's one class.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. So I'm still getting the same points.
Oh.
Or
Okay.
I guess
I
it's-
completely misunderstood that. I mean, I knew that some of the guys were really excited about that series coming in and stuff, and that are the cars that comparable that they can get away with that?
Yes, definitely.
Wow.
I don't know which one's the fast. I can't figure it out. Like, I mean, somebody could tell me, obviously, but like the first week I was driving the McLaren, and I thought that it was the fastest, and it may have been at Sebring, but then it's like each week that I've raced, they all 3 seem to be very, like, I'm not driving away from somebody. You know, like in some classes, I'm still the slowest guy on the track, but I still drive away from the lower class because it's just not as much horsepower or whatever. But on these cars, it seems very equal. So I haven't figured out which car is supposed to be better. I don't even think there is one, to be honest. And I can't see why there would be if it's all in the same class.
Oh, and I mean, as much as one of the things I've talked about with it when it came to doing road racing and a lot of the series being multi-class, that's one thing that's always made me nervous to get out there and try, was the fact that there were cars, everybody was at different speeds, which always scared the crap out of me, because I'm not as good at, racing on road racing as it is to have, okay, now you're faster than this type of car, but this type of car is faster than you, but you're not racing him, so you let him, like that. But I mean, if it was a series where I could just pick the car that I felt the most comfortable with, and it's all basically on even ground, that makes me a lot more interested in multi-class racing, even though it's not technically well, it is multi-class, but you know what I mean.
It is, but you're being scored for the same points.
That is really interesting. I had no idea it was working like that. That seems really cool.
That's one of the reasons. I mean, I like the GT3 series anyways because of the different cars, because I like those 3 cars, especially the McLaren. But one of the reasons why I specifically selected that series and then decided to rotate was because I would still get points, and it wouldn't be like I'd be in 3 different points races, which I'm not running for points, but it's still nice to keep up with.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm not really racing for the championship, but there are points to be had, so I want to do the best I can.
Yeah. So no matter what car I'm driving, I'm going to be getting the points, and it's going to go to my total. So that's one of the reasons why I really like that series.
Cool.
You should come join me.
It's one of those, like, you know what? I'm sticking to my guns on the fact that I'm racing, down the GTC, even though it's a D class level of racing. And yes, I do have my Road A license, but that was I didn't fast track, or I earned that license, but it was a manufactured license, so to speak. Like I followed a set plan to get that license. It wasn't because I'm an A class driver. It was, I knew what the steps that I had to go through, and I went through them, and I, legitimately earned the license, but, just because I wanted to have the option to race in any series that I wanted. But I'm finding racing, and it's funny that I've learned to love the Jetta so much after I initially hated it. But I'm finding just because it's, that slower, that heavier style of racing on the road, I'm finding it, I'm really having an easier time learning the tracks. Like when I went on Mid-Ohio, when I think, no, I haven't tried the Glen yet on that. But I mean, like all the other different tracks that I've tried, if I take that car out there, I find that it reels me in. It makes me not want to push it too hard into the braking zones. It makes me kind of, like I said, because I can just wheel the car around. Like I can recover from, okay, I went into that corner too fast, but I can really get on the brakes hard and turn the wheel and not have to restart my lap because I'm off into the tire barrier, that sort of thing. So I think I'm going to stick with that for now, although maybe I'll dabble up there. But I think me going slow right now is probably best for everybody involved. So my plan is I'm going to be racing as much of the Jetta that I can over the road racing side and doing as much of the Indy Oval stuff as I can. And, I'll dabble probably into some of the stock car stuff just because I love, NASCAR racing. So, if I get a chance to get in there and do that sort of stuff, I'm not committing to any league racing stuff. If I can jump in with the IRL, I will. But, I found that, like I mentioned before, just with my travel schedule and stuff, it's just too hard to commit to a set day, because I never know when I'm going to be home. And then when I am home, if I just got off the road, well, I don't want to commit time to racing when I could be spending time with my family. So doing just the arrive and drive stuff I've found has allowed me to race more because I don't feel obligated to get in there on a certain night. It's okay, now I have time. Let's go practice some laps. Let's jump into a race. So I'm gonna stick with that for this season. So it's gonna be GTC and IndyCar Oval for me. I was thinking about IndyCar Road, and then I did that experience with Mid-Ohio. It's like, I'm not ready for this. I'll put the car aside. Nobody else is going to get hurt on my behalf here. So,
yeah, you don't want me in an IndyCar on a road course.
And it's funny. I was thinking, it's like, okay, here we are. It's Thursday. I got to get some practice in, and I got to do some practice. It's like, wait a second. There's something coming up this weekend that I should really be practicing for now, above all else.
Yeah. Something of somewhat importance.
Yeah, so our fun races are coming up, and they're coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
So we ran our
surprise.
We ran our poll question. Like I said, hopefully you guys, saw on Twitter, saw on the forum posts. If not, here's your notification. It is now Thursday. The races are going to be on this Sunday. We ran the poll on the site over the past month. And it turns out that the day that won, I don't know the percentage. Actually, all of the choices were fairly close, but one jumped out by, significant.
I think it had like 3 more votes.
That's not very significant.
Well, it's more significant than the rest. The rest of it was like either tied or within one.
True enough. So the race time that did win was Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and that will hopefully allow, our North American people to come out and, say, hey, honey, can I kind of jump away for 2 hours in the middle of the afternoon, so that you guys, so I can go do some racing, and it'll allow the guys over across the pond, the UK, Australia. It'll be kind of their Sunday evening. I know you marked down what the GMT time was, but it's what, like 9, 8, 9, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's let me just go double check real quick.
But it becomes a time when it's not. I mean, it's never going to be perfect for everybody, but we kind of feel this time isn't. It's as close as we can get, I guess, and it's what won the poll. So,
what won the poll? So I think it's around 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, somewhere in there. It's 1800 GMT. I don't know what that is.
That's 6.
Okay, I was thinking it's 6. Is when the so basically what we're gonna do, man, excuse me, is at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Sunday. We will throw up the first room, the practice session for which it will be the Charlotte Motor Speedway Oval with the street stock. We're going to do the nighttime lighting, so if you want to practice. And we'll use all the stuff is on our website that you can read for all of the specifics if you want to get some practice in. But just to mention a couple big ones on the show, we'll use the iRacing default weather, which I figured for those of you that, the weather can definitely affect everything. So I figured it'd be easier to just do the iRacing default so that it's not going to change on anybody. But anyways, that first session will go up at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, or 6 GMT. 1800 is really what it is, but 6 if you're calculating your own time zone. So that'll be a 1-hour practice that we'll do. So we'll give everybody a chance to come in, like myself and Trevor, everybody else, and get some laps around, even though we don't need a ton of laps around the street with the street stock at Charlotte because it's fairly straightforward. It'll be a good time to get everybody in there, hopefully, that can come. And then at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, or 1900 GMT, we'll do the single car qualifying quick 2 laps. And then we'll do the 50-lap race after that. And then whenever that race ends, which shouldn't take that long, and by the way, we'll use the iRacing fix setup as well for the street stock at Charlotte. Whenever that race is over with, so probably around 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 2000 GMT, the road course race will fire up that room, and that'll be Okayama with a spec racer Ford. 30 minutes of practice, and then once the 30 minutes is over with, we'll do 2 laps, single car qualifying real quick, and then do a 30-minute race. And of course, that's fixed setup and default weather as well. And one other thing to mention is that the max racers we can have in the oval race is going to be 45. That's most that iRacing allows. And then that's at Charlotte. And then for the road race at Okayama will be 40. If we get a massive wave of people and everybody's tweeting us and emailing us saying, hey, I can't get in, I want to race, we'll throw up another room if we have to, and one of us me or Trevor will go into that room. So anyways, but all the details are on our website, and I'm sure Trevor will have a link there so you can see the password, which is Boom Confetti, and everything is there that you need to know.
Yep, and I was going to say we haven't put the password. We're telling you here. The password is on the website. We didn't put the password in the forums. We want to make sure that, as much as possible, that it is listeners. It's you guys that make it into the room. We don't want just to open up a hosted room that anybody could get into. We just want to make sure that it's, guys who are listening to the show and just want to come and hang out with us and other listeners, because that's kind of the whole point of this thing. So, so don't tweet it out.
One other thing to note is this will be in the hosted section of iRacing if I didn't mention that.
Mm-hmm. So, and the other thing too with the starting it up at 2 p.m. and then having an hour practice, unnecessary, but I mean it'll give a chance, because as much as this is a chance for you guys to just kind of come in and hang out with us and just have some fun. A lot of you guys talk to each other on Twitter, and you guys have kind of, become co-followers and stuff, and forum posts and talking to each other and stuff. So I think it'll be cool just to have a bunch of you guys, get to know each other, just hanging out there and making some friends and stuff, because I think it'll be kind of cool. Because, like I said, there's a lot of people who just happen to, start up conversations, through us, and then just end up talking to each other, So so I think that'll be a lot of fun too. So that hour practice, I think, will just be enough time to just get in there and just chat and have some fun too. And it allows me time to get down here, because my wife has to get back from church and get the kids settled before I can jump down. So as well, so Chad will be there before I will.
Yeah, he will be. So we hope that everyone gets a chance to come out, and even if you can only come for one race, that's okay, whichever race it happens to be. Hopefully everybody can come for both, but if you can only make one, that's fine too. Don't be like, I have to race both, so we don't have any rules. And if everybody wants to, maybe we can go do some figure 8 racing.
Yeah, because that was fun. I wouldn't put it in the spec racer again, though. I'd something I don't know.
We can do a vote in the room.
Yeah, just something that's more stable. Because man, as much fun as that was, that spec racer was a mess on that track, man. Like I couldn't control that thing.
I thought it was fun. Of
Uh,
course, I mean, you can obviously tell that if you go watch that stream. We both thought it was fun.
oh yeah, it was fun, but
Oh, come on. You know
uh,
you can handle it.
so that is the details on the fun races. If you
And,
missed any of that, just go check our website. It's right there.
and August 17th is the date. I know we said this Sunday, but just in
Right.
case you don't know, August 17th. So,
Yes, and hopefully it'll be a success, and then we'll do it again because we'll just keep doing these things as long as you guys are listening and having fun and want to keep racing and having fun. We'll keep putting these things on. So hopefully we'll get a good turnout and get to talk to some of you guys.
maybe we can do the 24 hours of the iRacing Today radio show in the future.
That sounds like a disaster.
Yeah, there probably won't be anybody left on the track.
Oh no, there wouldn't be. I mean, there would just be it would be the 24 hours of tumbleweeds going across the track. I mean,
It's the 30 minutes of the race, okay, and that's it. All right,
and
23 hours,
it's
30
gone.
minutes left.
The
So, what do you-
I was going to say on the forums they're already starting to plan, in anticipation of season 4 and driver swaps. They're already starting to plan 24-hour races and stuff. And we've already been talking amongst the team, that if one of those happens, we're going to try to do it, and that's
Yeah.
going to be horrible.
well, just so long as you don't wreck us out, you know.
Well, I mean, just like the idea of that, as much as, I know when we first started talking about it, it's like, oh, okay, it's kind of cool. I had a kind of a cold attitude towards the driver swap, but the more I think about it, I mean, like that just, I think that's going to be cool. I mean, it's like, you know what? Okay,
Yeah.
so you're racing for these 4 hours, and then I'm going to, set my alarm, and I'm going to go take a nap, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, get up and, race for it. Like, that just seems bloody cool to me as a gamer type person, that enjoys different experiences. Like I'm really looking forward to that. Like I think that would be so cool. Unless
Oh,
of
yeah.
course I wreck us all out. Or my alarm goes off, I log on, and there's no car to get into, and I get an email from Chad saying, just go back to bed. We're done. Too much
Yeah.
damage. We're done here.
Sorry. Might be.
I thought we talked about this I mean, I know it was 3 weeks ago that last show. I do not condone the phrase "my bee." Also, as anybody watching the video, the one thing that, in order to make this weird setup go on, in order to have everything working with the video and stuff, the one thing that I was not allowed to do was move my mouse over onto the Skype screen, which I just did. So there'll be
There
a
you go.
slight glitch in the video.
I fixed it to where it doesn't do it on mine.
Oh, you should have
I'm
told me.
special. Well, I just cropped it out. Simple.
Well, I couldn't. Never mind. Too much inside baseball. Doesn't really matter. But that's the fun races, and
Did you say inside baseball?
yes, sir. Well, it's a
Wow.
phrase meaning behind the scenes talk.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
Yeah, but it's America's pastime. You should. It's not like I was talking about hockey or lacrosse. I mean, I was even
I've
using
still never heard of
terms that were more Americanized for you, sir. Just for you.
I'm Jamaican.
Making me crazy.
Oh.
But anyway, I think that's about it, unless you got anything else to add before we set these fine people free until we come
I'm
back
done.
next
Let's
week.
get out of here. I gotta go practice for some fun races.
All right, that's it. I'm done with this. This is stupid. I gotta go to bed. I hate y'all. All right,
Get out of my life!
get off my lawn. So that will about do it for this week. Big thanks to all of you out there for listening and hanging with us. Sorry again for the slight summer break, but hey, breaks are good. I came back refreshed and happy. Not happy that my house is destroyed, but hey, refreshed to do the show. So
There you go.
remember, the show is available for download on iTunes and Zune under the podcast section, where we would really appreciate a review to help us get the word out if you don't mind. The show is also available on YouTube over on my page, which is Ratface Productions, and it will be mirrored over on White Knight Productions on his Twitch channel, maybe his YouTube. his Justin TV channel,
Oh,
and his
okay.
Amazon Prime account.
I am marrying your stream of it from YouTube to my YouTube channel, and then I am live streaming it on Twitch.
I
We're
still,
we're pretty famous.
we're stupid, is what we are. We've taken
Yeah.
a radio show and turned it into a complicated mess, just because
But it works right now.
we're having too much fun just making. It's like, I don't know, this worked. What if we did this? Anyway, so so make sure you check out my YouTube channel, Ratface Productions, Mr. Chad's channel over on Twitch and YouTube under White Knight Productions. I have a Twitch channel as well under Ratface Productions, but I have not twitched anything over there. I'm assuming that would be the verb of doing something on Twitch. But I'm planning on I'm going to try to do some live stuff over there. I don't know.
Oh, and speaking of live stuff,
Speaking of,
Trevor will be live streaming the fundraisers on YouTube, and I will
Oh.
be doing it on Twitch.
true, yes, good point.
So in
I forgot
case
to
you
mention
can't make it, but you happen to be somewhere where you can watch the streams, there you go.
that. Yes, good point. So make sure you head over there, and we'll get you get Trevor's perspective of what the grass looks like. You'll get a good detailed view of the. I'm assuming, yeah, there's some grass around Okayama. So
Yeah.
and
There's even some grass at Charlotte.
well, I'm pretty sure I can handle that. So, but
I don't know.
why did I just say that? Because now I'm spinning through the infield.
Yep. And guess what I'm going to say? And you will get to hear it on the stream as soon as he does it.
Is it I told you so?
Yep.
Okay.
The other cool thing about that is you'll get to hear our conversation on TeamSpeak.
Yes. So, because we'll have our secret channel that nobody else can hear unless you're watching the stream. But
Yeah. Which would probably be most people. Because they'll
I'm
be the
streaming.
people
and
on the race.
I'm streaming and I'm driving. I don't know. Everybody just watch the stream. It'll just be me and you racing each other, and everybody just watching on the stream. So I
That
don't
would
want to
be
race. I just want to watch these two guys go at it, man.
Yeah, I'll just push you all the way to the checker flag and then dump you.
I would expect nothing less. But
Oh, wow.
if you're not racing and you're not watching Chad dump me, you can check out the website for information, archives, links, and the polls we mentioned on the show over at iRacingTodayRadio.com. And we have a new poll over there, obviously. Well, it's not new now. It was new at the beginning of August, but it's
So 14 days ago.
I know. But Chad put up what I still contend is the most difficult poll that we've put up on the page so far. And it's basically, hey, what's your favorite car? And it lists all the cars in the service. So pick your favorite. Good luck with that, because I haven't voted yet, because I haven't come to a conclusion.
I haven't either.
So
I don't even know what to pick.
So make sure you head over there and get so we can talk about that once that poll has closed. You can follow show news through Facebook at facebook.com/iRacingTodayRadio and Twitter at Twitter at iRacingToday for myself, and at It's Chadillac for Mr. Chad at.
Oh, wow. Please email any questions, comments, and poll suggestions that you might have to feedback at iRacingTodayRadio.com. And, of course, feel free to add myself and Trevor as friends on the iRacing.com members website, especially for this weekend, and be a little bit easier to join the fun races. You can just click on our helmets. Think about joining iRacing? If you're doing so, then please refer either Trevor or myself in the refer box when you sign up. His email is ratface with 2 T's at gmail.com, and mine is iracinglegend@gmail.com. But until next week, ladies and gentlemen, or until Sunday, remember that the race is rarely won in the first turn.
But it is often lost there. Good night, everybody.